Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the bonus coverage of Riffs and Body Slams. I'm your host, Gmo, recorded from the beautiful suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. And as you've been listening to my original episode number 53 that came out not that while ago, I mentioned I'm going to do a bonus coverage on the Tony Inoki tribute. So that's will be on this bonus. But stick around after it. We'll have some extra stuff. And that's not relating to the tribute I'm doing. It's going to be more towards what happened on Extreme Rules. WWE Extreme Rules just wrapped up not too while ago, probably 12, 13 hours ago. And if you watched it, you know what happened. If you didn't, stick around. Maybe I'll have some results and a surprise returning appearance at the very end if you've been following me on my Twitter. By the way, on my socials, Riffs and Body Slams on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Follow me on my second YouTube page, Riffs and Body Slams Plus. Send me an email, riffsandbodyslams@gmail.com. And if you're a new subscriber, hit the subscribe button so you never miss each and every week's episode. If you're a loyal listener each and every week, I'd love to highlight your name right here on the podcast. All right, without further ado, let's talk about the great, the legend, Tony Inoki. Wow, major news in the world pro wrestling. And some sad reports coming from YahooJapan.com. This past Saturday morning, October 1st, the world of pro wrestling lost one of the greats. The WWE Hall of Famer and New Japan Pro Wrestling founder Antonio Inoki passed away at age 79, sending shockwaves across the pro wrestling landscape. Now, Antonio Inoki, he is a key figure in the world of pro wrestling. He is one of the key members on the Mount Rushmore when it comes to pro wrestling. Now, his wrestling skills dated back since the late 50s. All right, so he was a fluent family in Yokohama in 1943. Now, his family went through hard times in the post-war years back in 1957. So at age 14, he was immigrated to Brazil. Not a lot of fans know about his background, which is related back to Brazil. Eventually, he kind of picking up more athletic programs like disc throwing, javelin throws, and apparently he was an all Brazilian championships in shot put and discus. Very interesting. So that's how his athletic ability started. Now his pro wrestling career began when he met Ricky Dozan, one of the legendary figures in pro wrestling back in the 60s. And eventually he had joined his very first promotion, which was Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance, JWA. So he started going there, and apparently he trained in JWA dojo under the renowned Karl Gotch, the legendary Karl Gotch. And eventually his classmate, now remember listeners, his classmate was the great Giant Baba. Now listeners, fans that know the Mount Rushmore is El Santos down in Mexico. He was huge down there. Giant Baba in Japan, and Antonio Inoki. Those are the Mount Rushmores of the greats in pro wrestling history. Well, JWA was going through issues, and there was a turmoil behind the scenes with Inoki and the company. Eventually, that company folded. So Antonio Inoki decided to start his own wrestling promotion, which pro wrestling fans know. Listeners, do you know? That promotion is New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yes, NJPW was founded in 1972 by the great Antonio Inoki. And look where New Japan is at right now. All thanks to Antonio Inoki. So I'm gonna ask you this, listeners. You have any memories of Antonio Inoki, either on television, watching on television throughout any period of time, or have you met Antonio Inoki or seen him live in person? Let me know on my socials. Again, he is a key opponent in the pro wrestling world. Here's this awesome, rare clip, courtesy of the WWE Network. Well, back in 1973. Again, this is all Japanese commentators, so there were no English commentators at the time. Take a listen.
今ロープを使いますアンドレ・ザ・ジャイアント巨大な人間山脈爆発寸前であります。一方超過激ティーン中国のアントニオ・イノキハルク・ホーガン・キングの入場であります。手拍子が沸き起こります。ハマッコのファンからハマッコのプロレスファンから手拍子大合唱が沸き起こっています。その中を今耳をつんだかのようなイノックホールの中をハルク・ホーガンアントニオ・イノキが入ってまいりました。ハルク・ホーガンが先導、その後ろにアントニオ・イノキであります。黒装束のハルク・ホーガン、堂々たるタイ、その後ろ、アントニオ・イノキの黄色のガン。
So yes, that clip courtesy of WWEnetwork.com, a rare footage of Andre the Giant teaming up with Rene Goulet versus Antonio Inoki and Hulk Hogan. Now, listeners, Hulk Hogan wasn't in the WWF. Now, WWE, he wasn't in the company as a mega superstar just yet. He was still part of the AWA territories back in the 80s. And this was long before Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. So this was somewhat a big deal in Japan. Now, moving fast forward, another key moment in the pro wrestling world. Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers in history. Take a listen.
後ろ真っ赤であります。第8ラウンドは残り1分です。これはどういうことですか？しかしこれは汗で取れますからね。取れますね、すぐね。これは無理ですよね。そして靴の先がですね、アリに当たっているわけではないですからね。そうなんですよ。大したことねえぞっていうのがいいですよね。ゴング鳴りました。聞いてないとね。ホイッスルが鳴りました。リング中央に歩み寄ってまいりました。第9ラウンド、また回し蹴り。その軽快なフットワークを見せ始めました。ロープに寄っていった。猪木のキックを足に浴び続けるアリ。手をかけました。モハメッド・アリ。王者のプライドか。
Yeah, so that clip you heard courtesy of WWEnetwork.com, Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki in a pro wrestling shoot match. As in, what I mean by shoot is a real life fight in the ring. A pro wrestler versus a boxer, which happens very rarely in the pro wrestling world. And both men squared off in the ring. And that's where Antonio Inoki came up with the mind where he wanted a combat sports style mixed in with pro wrestling. Mixed martial arts, MMA, it's hard to say, MMA, in a pro wrestling world, which is phenomenal. He also faced Bob Backlund in the 70s before he went to the WWE. So very cool stuff. Oh, now let's flash forward to 1995. In 1995, another historical moment happened.
Inoki was all business. The Nature Boy Ric Flair, he knew he was up against one of the greatest legends in the sport today, and both athletes, without question, took this match, this opportunity, and this challenge very, very seriously. Would Antonio Inoki become a national hero in Korea, or would he face defeat at the hands of the Nature Boy Ric Flair?
안토니오 이노키는 자기 마지막 경기를 마치는 오늘의 이 뜻깊은 경기를 세계 진보적인 분들이 그토록 물어보는 유명했고 역사의 공에서 진행하는
And this indeed was the match that the entire world was waiting for. WCW's own Ric Flair taking on the legend himself, Antonio Inoki. Antonio Inoki.
That clip courtesy of WWE Network.com. The match the fans were clamoring about back in 1995 in North Korea, of all places, a super show between WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of the key moments in the 90s. And eventually in 2005, he sold New Japan Pro Wrestling to Yuke's, the video game company. And eventually he started doing politics when it started back in 1989 to 1995 as his first stint. And the second stint was from 2013 all the way up to 2019, where he retired from politics in 2019. And to kind of recap this tribute, here is WWE's Hall of Fame speech from 2010, courtesy of WWEnetwork.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, and member of WWE, I thank you for attending this ceremony today. It is true honor for me to receive the prestigious award, and timing is perfect. My first match was in 1960 when I was 17 years old. So this marks the 50th anniversary of my debut professional wrestling.
And yes, a beautiful Hall of Fame speech from the great Antonio Inoki from his 2010 WWE Hall of Fame speech, courtesy of WWEnetwork.com. And he accomplished so many titles from the NWA. He was a previous WWF Heavyweight Champion, WWF, way back in the late 60s and 70s, had a multiple New Japan Pro Wrestling champion. Antonio Inoki may not be here in person anymore, but he will be here in spirits and our hearts forever. Hey, thank you so much for listening to this awesome bonus content. All right, let's talk about WWE Extreme Rules 2022 edition. It went down on October 8th. And let's talk about it really quick. The Brawling Brutes defeated Imperium in the good old six-man tag team, good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Ronda Rousey defeated Liv Morgan to become the new WWE SmackDown World's Women's Champion. She defeated her by the technical submission. Karrion Kross defeated Drew McIntyre by pinfall in a strap match. Bianca Belair, the champion, defeated Bayley in the ladder match, while Finn Balor defeated Edge in an I Quit match. And then for the main event, Matt Riddle defeated Seth freaking Rollins by submission in a fight pit match. And of course, right after that match ended, the lights went out. Sure enough, all the Firefly Buzzards lights were going through the crowds. Very great production from WWE, because they'll have one shot where they'll have a guy dressed in like that pig face mask, part of the Bray Wyatt's puppet family. Next thing you know, there'll be another shot across the arena with the Mercy the Buzzard. Some guy creepily standing in the crowd with the Mercy the Buzzard mask on. And then another shot across the other side of the arena. And then you'll have that witch that's part of the puppet family. And next thing you know, in the crowd, there's a different shot from a different person wearing Bray Wyatt's creepy mask. Sure enough, they did a nice production video showing the Firefly Funhouse, the scene where they done the puppets. But this time it shows a very darkened room with cobwebs, and you can hear the door saying, "Let me in." And of course, they were singing the song, playing the song in the background. We got the whole world in our hands. And then they did a nice, perfect shot of a door sitting on the stage in the arena with a light showing right behind it. And when that door opened up, here comes Bray Wyatt with his lantern. And that crowd went nuts. It was a great moment for WWE. So, good way to end out Extreme Rules, and people walking their way out of the arena or possibly watching at home, happy, going to sleep. Very good on Saturday night. All right, that concludes this bonus coverage edition. Again, follow me on my socials, Riffs and Body Slams on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Send me an email, riffsandbodyslams@gmail.com. All right, till next time, my friends, take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys later on. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe today. You can find me on all major podcast outlets, on Twitter, and on Twitch, Riffs and Body Slams. And don't forget to follow my official Riffs and Body Slams original channel, Pro Shot Concerts and Wrestling Videos. Subscribe today.